Hi everyone, from me, Brent Graham of goodforthegame.co.za. Thursday night, 9 o'clock. Time for the handicap rugby chat that matters. We've got a bit of a reduced panel tonight, a reduced round of international fixtures, no doubt about that. We've just got the one to chat about, and of course, we've got some URC to chat about as well. But I've got a feeling we might touch on a bit of cricket because look at the name there, Marco Jansen, Temba Bavuma.
I spelled Bavuma wrong, unfortunately.
Oh, you did too?
It should be an A and not an E.
And it's Gavin Cohn joining me. Sorry, Gavin, introduce yourself there, mate.
Yeah, just apologies to the Bavuma family because I put an E instead of an A. I do apologize, but geez, the Oaks got a record already. He's 11 out of 12. He's won 11 out of 12. I always used to laugh because Hansie Cronje, and I know he was a dodgy oak at the end and probably a dodgy oak in the middle, but Hansie Cronje was one of the captains that went for a result. He was the Baz Ball of the 90s, as they call it today. You know, Hansie he wasn't interested in draws. He went for wins. Graham Smith comes along, and the oak is like, I don't want to lose. You know, he had that attitude. And I remember when he was 22 when we went to England in the early 2000s, and he did very well. But yeah, Temba Bavuma, I'm happy here. I like him. And his game has improved so much since he became captain. And how's that catch? I don't know if you saw it, Brent, but Marco Janssen's catch at the last wicket of the day. But I also felt, for those who watched the game, India, for me, gave up. And I'm going to use not analogy, but the counter argument of that test match in Australia where Graham Smith had broken his finger and he came out and he defended. And we almost saved the draw. We lost the game in the end. He didn't manage to make it. It was a few runs. But I just felt India just gave up. I don't know who they're playing next, but I'm definitely on the opposition. I think it was a great result by South Africa, but I think there's problems in the Indian camp, and you can probably oppose them for the next couple of tests. I was just saying to Brent before we went live now, you know, I've always been a rugby punter, and you know, rugby punting for me has been 85, 90, 95% of my turnover every month for more than 10 years. And I was never a good cricket punter. Like if somebody said to me, what do you like in the cricket? I say, bro, I'm having a bet, but honestly, don't follow me. Don't even listen to me. I get them wrong. But I've started to read cricket a lot better now, and I'm starting to enjoy my bets now. And I was also saying to Brent that my bet size in cricket is very small compared to my rugby. Like I'm scared to put a big bet on cricket, and I haven't had a big bet on cricket. So yeah, I just enjoyed it. I think as a South African, we should be proud. Our rugby's doing well. Our cricket's doing well. You know, the soccer guys, Bafana got into the World Cup. I just think we're in a great country. We're in a great time, a moment of time. And yeah, I'm just excited about South African sport.
That certainly isn't a healthy position. I must tell you, I actually used to work with Temba Bavuma's mom. We were both used to work in the same company. I meant to actually send her a message of congratulations the other day. But let's get into the rugby. Gavin, we just got the one international to talk about today, and we'll touch on the URC games. I know, like me, you haven't really got too stuck into those yet. We'll have a look in particular at the South African games. But let's talk Wales against South Africa. Handicap, from what I gather, sort of they were opened up around about the 35.5 point mark. It's gone out. I can tell you, I've written the 40.5. This is at PokerBet. It seems to be the common line at the moment, but I can tell you there is 42.5 at Bet Exchange. If you were looking to get on the Welsh, which I don't think you probably are, but we'll talk about that in a second. This, of course, will be played under the roof, the Principality Stadium. Wales losing by 26, I think it was, last week to the All Blacks. South Africa, of course, that's stunning. When I say stunning, they should have probably won by a lot more, but it was a brutal victory over Ireland last week. Absolutely bullied them in the pack. Gav, what do you make of this game? 40 points, it sounds big. Is it big enough?
No, but I just want to touch on a couple of things going into this. Into my analysis of what I like here. So, first of all, Argentina, best bet of the weekend, delivered. And unfortunately, they didn't win the game. I met up with Henrik. I was at Grand West the other night. Not the other night. Yeah, 2 nights ago. Watched the Cause. that girl, the lead singer, 51 years old, born 1974, May, same as my wife. She was dancing around like she was 23. I loved it. Anyway, ran into Henrik that night. We were in the Spur. And I said to him, you know what, Henrik, did you watch the Argentina game? He said, yes. I said to him, bro, if Argentina had won the game, we wouldn't have been eating at the Spur. And that's not anything against the Spur. It just means there would have been a little bit more money to have a go. And as you know, Brent, I messaged you during the game. I punted them at 8-1 when they were losing by 14 or 17. I can't remember what it was. I was puzzled that they went for the 3 points. And you equally were puzzled that England did the same thing a little bit later on in the game. Argentina are their own worst enemies.
They led by 8 points. They led by 8 points. So you would have thought kick to the corner, converted try, three scores ahead. Yet they went from 8 to 11. It didn't make sense to me, and it wasn't. I must just quickly pop in there. My bet was England over 30.5. They had their try rightly disallowed at the end of the first half, and then after that, they had plenty of time to score another try, and it just never happened for me. But yeah, that was it. But well done. I think you've picked Argentina very well. Certainly, I can't recall so much early in the season, but towards the back end of the season, and you've kept faith in them. I think the weird thing about Argentina was they had some shocking second half performances if you look early in the season. But towards the end here, they've actually become a second half team. They've given away big leads and come back to either win the game against Scotland or jolly near. They were very unlucky in a sense not to win that game. I thought they were going to do it. And by that stage, I was actually pulling for them to win the game as well.
Yeah, and then you go and look at the other game, right? So the New Zealand playing Wales. So I was on the minus there. I lost on that game. And it's funny, when you look at a weekend, right, of where you've had a few bets, like you've backed a few teams, I don't know. Like if somebody said to me, do you want your last bet to be a winner or your first bet to be a loser? Like I know it's not the same thing, but it's how your weekend starts. And this particular weekend, my first couple of bets were losers. And I ended up well ahead. And last week was the same story. Now, New Zealand, for me, threw that away. The biggest point for me, New Zealand played like I expected them to. Their scoring. They scored 50-odd points, 52, whatever it was. But for me, they allowed Wales to score 26 points. And I stand to be corrected, and I'm definitely not looking at this. This is in my head. I don't think Wales have scored 26 points in a long time. Like this is big. For Wales, that's massive.
I'll stop you there, Gav. They got 28 the week before against Argentina, if I recall.
They lost.
Yeah, but they could score 28 points. Didn't you say they haven't scored 26 points for a long time?
Yeah, I didn't think so. Okay, well, there you go. And before that,
week before.
No, you're right. And I should have remembered that. But unfortunately,
I know what you're saying, though. Wales haven't been scoring points up until, against Argentina, they were also hammered, but it's a similar type of, not as big a scoreline as New Zealand, if I can remember. But yeah, they scored some tries, and it's very much out of character because it's a Welsh team that have been struggling to score points, certainly for the last year and a half, I'd say.
Okay, so I'm going to show you this, right? So you see American politics, they hand them a piece of paper. So I just got handed a piece of paper by my wife, and I'm going to show it to you. I don't know if you can see that. I don't know how clear that is. Whoa, sorry.
Wait, I'll try and make you bigger on the screen. Still can't see it, Gav. You're going to have to tell me. Maybe others can, but I can't see what.
I will shout more for your picks, so I don't go to Spur onwards and upwards. That's from Wifey. Now, there you go. My son got irritated with me when I was shouting Argentina home the other night. He came and he put his finger like he just shh. Because I was like, the neighbor must have been pissed off with me. The other neighbor must have been. I was going, get in. There you go. How's it, Henrik? Sorry, I obviously got that wrong last week, but I don't think they've scored more than 20 points in a few games. I don't know. It's just a feeling. It's like when I looked at that game, I thought to myself, yes, New Zealand are going to score 50 plus, and that handicap seemed wrong to me. So I lost on that game. But I'm going to tell you in this game, I don't think Wales score more than 10. I think South Africa, this can be 60. Like, I'm not joking, Brent. This can be 70-10 or 65-15, that kind of thing. I think 40 is 10 plus points out here. I'm a South African minus punter here, but I will tell you this as well, and this is very important. I'm not going big. It's the last game of the season at outside of the window. I just think that we're too good. We're just too good, and we'll naturally win this game comfortably. And we might get a Wales hero out of this, and there might be one or two of their players that play well and put their hands up, so to speak. But I just think this is a thumping that's waiting to happen. And Brent, you're young enough to remember that the game in 1998 or 1997, I can't remember what it was, or even 2000, we beat them 108-5 or 96-0. It was nearly 100 points. And I'm going to say that this weekend can be very close to that. They call it conditioning in rugby. We are definitely the fittest team by a country mile. I just think even going back to our third and fourth team, I haven't even seen the team sheet. I believe heard on the radio, Kobus Reinach is going to come on for his 50th match. I just think that, I mean, Hendricks just put it on the screen now. I just think we thumped this Wales team by 50. I'm going to say 45 plus, not 40. 45 plus, but I'm expecting closer to 60. And I just think it'll just be natural. It won't even look like we're doing anything different. I don't know. I just think this Wales team's really, if they hadn't won that second test against Japan, they'd be going into the 20th, 21st, 22nd game beaten, like without a win. And that will go right through the Six Nations. They don't win a game in the Six Nations. For me, Italy beat them. If I'm correct, Italy played home this next cycle because Italy beat them in Wales last year, if I remember correctly. Could be wrong, but I don't think Wales win another game until they get to the July. In fact, they're not going to win because in July they're playing this Nations Cup. I think this Wales thing's going to go. They're going to have one victory in 40. It's going to go on for a long, long, long way. They don't have it right. Whatever is working, whatever they think is working, is not working. This South African team, three teams deep, is still too good, way too good for this Welsh team. Minus all the way. And I'm not even going to say no bet. This is Wales. South Africa minus. Just punt it. And this handicap, one more thing, Brent. I know you're itching to speak right now. I'm going to say that by game time, this starts at 45 or 46. It's going to move. Oaks are going to come. They're not listening to me. They're just going to see what I see, and they're going to punt it.
Yeah, interesting, because as I said, BetExchange already 42.5. And when I saw that, I started trying to make a case for Wales, actually, because I'm going 6 7s or 42. They've got to
sure. At some point, the handicap is a winner for Wales. It can be 63 and a half, 52 and a half. Who knows?
But the point is, I tried to make a case for them, and I looked at this Welsh team, and the bottom line is they're also missing a few players, and the box, despite the fact that a few players have left the squad, they don't have, I believe, and Emil actually touched on it, that Dwayne Vermeulen's on standby should there be an injury, because we've only got, I think, 23 or 24 players. But the point is, we're still able to put out one hell of a squad. It's a hell of a strong team. One thing I would do, and not many bookmakers offer it, but I know Sunbet do, that second half handicap. Because if I look at this Welsh team, and when I say their starting lineup's okay, I'm talking in 40-point handicap terms, their starting lineup's okay. They're nowhere near the box. But their bench looks very, very weak to me. And I think even if Wales manage to stay in touch for the first half, I think they're absolutely going to get hammered in the second half. Honestly, Gav, you'll probably... the thing is with this, is you said last game of the season, it's almost up to the Boxers. If they put their mind to it, they'll beat this handicap. If they decide to... I don't know, if they may be a bit disjointed or they don't take the game maybe that seriously, I guess Wales could sneak in there. But I try to make a case for Wales. I couldn't, so I'm more than happy to join you boys on the minus or look at a points play.
I think where I'm also coming from here is, I didn't touch on the South African game, and I've got to say well done to Ireland. Ireland they didn't get smashed. And honestly, and Brent, you're going to remember this, and I'm chuckling already because I was on Bulls minus 36 against the Falcons. And I think it was like 2004, 2005, 2006. Falcons had 12 men on the field. Bulls were leading by 33 and they could not score in 7 minutes. And I just remember going like, what is going on here? Like, are you Oaks crazy? There's 12 people in the field score. And I think in South Africa's case, and this is now the second time I was on the right side of the South African one. I had the minus obviously, and in that example, I was on the minus Bulls. But I just remember looking at that thinking, there's 12 Oaks on the field. You call a scrum, and you've got 4 guys to defend instead of 7. Like there's 3 Oaks missing. And that means there's 2 on one side and 1 on the other. So you've got the odd number that you can go for. And they couldn't do it. For 7 minutes, they couldn't do it. And South Africa, for me, I read a lot of the journalists, rugby journalists around the world. And a lot of them touched on the fact that South Africa were just, they all seemed to go, what do they call it? Singing the same tune, banging on the same whatever analogy it is. But I think South Africa, I think they're right. South Africa went in there and they just bullied them and said, listen, we can beat you. We're going to beat you. And we're okay. We don't need to thump you today. We've beaten you. I just think this Wales team is. Listen, I think both teams. There's going to be some Welsh guys that get an opportunity on Saturday, and I also think that there's South Africans in the side that are not first choice picked players, and they're going to say, you know what? Here's my opportunity to impress Rassie. Let me go out there and do a little bit better than I have. So I think the motivation lies with South Africa to win this game comfortably. And I just think they do it naturally. And I'm going to say the same thing with my bet. We spoke about the cricket. Initially, and I told you this before the test started, I backed South Africa draw no bet. And the reason for that is they were already 1-0 up in the series. And the draw was a runner. And we spoke about it last week. Because of the bad pitch the week before, or the test before, they were going to improve it. So for me, it was like, I don't want to back South Africa when, with that Graham Smith mindset that, you know what, we'll take the draw because we were in the series. So I backed South Africa draw no bet. And I thought that was a very clever bet at the time. But the day before, I backed South Africa. And yesterday when they, the day before when they declared, they went 16-10. And for me, and I said to you, Brent, there's no ways these Oaks are going to defend this for 100 plus overs. So one of my comments in that to you in that cricket match was, I think South Africa just win the game because they're good enough. But there's the worry of the draw. And in this case, this handicap is what the New Zealand handicap was, basically. I mean, I know it's 10 points more, but it's not that far away. It's not like 20 or 25 points away. And New Zealand, they scored 50 points easily. Like, they could have scored more. My problem is they let Wales score points, which South Africa won't do. South Africa's defense is far better than New Zealand's. So for me, what did you say? The points was 66, so that leaves 26-30. So they got Wales at 13 points, basically. I don't think they beat 10. I think Wales get a try, maybe, or they get a couple of penalties in the first half. And I agree with you. I think the second half is a runaway. I just like South Africa. But again, not at the money I chucked at Argentina last week. I'm going like half that stake or even 30%, a third of the stake. But I like that.
Yeah, just looking at poker bet here, you can get under 13.5 at even money on Wales points.
I think that's a bet.
Obviously, and the South African points line is 54.5. So
over South Africa, under Wales, you can win both bets.
Yeah, that's it. Or alternatively, just go for. I mean, if you do like that, you can also go for the handicap there, and you should arrive. So it'll be a nice game to watch. This one, I'm not particularly excited about it. I don't actually have a firm view on it at the moment, other than I do agree with what Henrik and Gavin have said. And for me, I would say it's a situation of South Africa minus or no bet. I might just.
I'm not saying no bet. I'm saying
no. You
have a bet, but don't climb in, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Right, let's go into a bit of URC, Gavin. I know we haven't really probably either of us gone into a lot of it. I'll sort of run through the caps and some of the betting moves, and then we'll focus on the South African teams. But I will start on Friday night. We've got Ulster here minus 21.5 against Benetton. Now, big moves. I can't remember what it opened, but certainly I saw around about 12.5. It then went 14.5 Ulster, and now 21.5. I gather a lot of that around team selection. The teams are obviously up. I'm just not that clued up on the Benetton side, so I can't really comment. But just to say, big moves. The bet I'd like to point out here as a potential is the points at 50.5, because I did have a look at the weather on this one, and my word, it doesn't look good. Heavy wind, heavy rain the whole day, particularly heavy rain at night. So for me, if I'm going to have a bet at this, in fact, Emil saying Ulster open minus 7.5. So I don't know if that was in South Africa. Emil, let me know if you managed to get it there. But I know overseas it did open very low. But yeah, minus 7.5, so big money for Ulster. But for me, I'm just looking at this game going Friday night, coming down heavily with rain. I'm just going to go unders and sit back and not get too involved. Do you have any views at all on this one, Gav?
Yeah, so the first thing I want to explain to everybody, and I know, Brent, we've discussed rugby over the years. I find that I'm picking these international games a lot better, and I'm excited for the Six Nations. That's the next tournament coming up, and I've done very well in World Cups. I seem to be reading these international games quite nicely, and I think a lot of it has got to do with the fact that these teams don't play that often against each other. In other words, I'm doing a little bit more homework than the bookmaker is. And yes, I've been the bookmaker and I've done the homework, so I know what it feels like. At some point, you go like analysis by paralysis, or paralysis by analysis. You do too much work. But I've done very well with the international games. URC, unfortunately, I've not done well. My head's above water, but it's barely above water. I'm not going to claim, excuse me, to be making massive money. I'm definitely not. I look at this and I hear what you say. There's rain, and I'm looking at the 50 and I'm looking at the 21, and I'm saying to myself, is that ratio right? So if it's bad weather and the handicap's gone up, but the points have come down, and again, 50 seems too high for a bad weather game, and so does 21. But I'm going to say 21 looks worse than 50. So I'm going to say, if this is the bad weather you're talking about, you've got to go for, if you're having a bet, that is. I'm not, at this point, I'm not. I'll watch a bit of the game. I will get involved in these games that don't feature South African teams. Of course I will, and I have many times. I'm the kind of guy who's going to watch a little bit of the game, have a bet in running, or have a bet at half, more than likely at halftime. But I'm going to say that 21 looks wrong. I'm happy to go plus 21.5, especially after hearing that it was 7.5. You can't tell me that 14 points have changed just because of a lineup in a URC game in bad weather. That's too many points. And 50 does seem too high, but for me, the 21 seems too high.
Right.
This means nothing to me. I don't know any of these people.
No. The other people watching who might want to have a look at the teams. Right, Dragons up against Leinster. Leinster, of course, without their sort of top Irish players. Here we got a handicap of plus 20.5 Dragons. Points of 47.5. I can tell you the weather also doesn't look good in this game. Not as bad from what I can tell, but it doesn't look good in this game. And although it might clear around about kickoff time, there's a lot of rain early in the day. The handicap's been fairly stable all week on this one. I've seen plus 20.5. I've seen plus 18.5, back to 20.5. Gavin, Leinster, when they field their B team, never to me quite the same side. I'm actually leaning home team on the handicap here, but of the two games, I'll be watching the other one with my unders play.
Without going through the whole rigmarole of what I just said, again, the 20 points here just seems too much in a bad weather game. In bad weather, I'm more likely to go to the plus than unders. And I've had points bets, but I'm not as experienced as Henrik and yourself in points. I've had them, but I'm always bad weather. You just go plus. It's plus or no bet. Like I've always been like that. So yes, I'll watch a bit of this, and if they're playing at the same time, which is probably what they're doing, I'll put one on the computer, one on the TV. I'll have a look, but I'm not going big in either of these two games. These pluses just look too big for bad weather. That's all.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've got a similar strategy, but a different strategy in that often if it's bad weather, I take the unders on the underdog. So in other words, my view is often that the favorite team might still score a bit, but I actually, it's going to be harder to score against the hot favorite. So similar strategy, just slightly different angle. Johannes saying, by the way, Henrik came in with Dragons on the plus. Just jumping back to the previous game, Johan reckons Benetton on the plus. So agreeing with you on that one there as well, Gavin. We'll get on to a big game now, though. I don't have any points lines here. What I can tell you is that there's been a tremendous amount of rain in Johannesburg this week. It really has rained a lot, and that will of course mean it rained in Pretoria as well. So be a little bit careful of conditions. I haven't looked ahead to the weather on this game. This handicap has been rock solid all week since I saw it anyway on Monday afternoon. Bulls minus 11.5 against the Lions here, Gav.
The last time you and I watched the rugby game, Brent, was this fixture in Loftus, and I lost. Listen, I'm going to have a patriotic punch. I don't know. It's been so long since the URC South African teams, well, for many of them have played. I'm gonna back the Lions, but this one is patriotic or fanatic or whatever you want to call it. I just think that it just sounds too much to me. But you know what? I'm not putting a lot of money on it. I'm wearing my shirt and I'll watch it. So yeah, I don't have a feeling here. I'm going as a fan. I'm punting as a fan. It just feels too much.
Yeah, I haven't had a good look. I don't know if the Lions have announced their team. I know the Bulls have a couple of players returning from injury now, but I'm also leaning towards the Lions on this game. And I'm kind of with Henrik saying he would look at the unders, and I've just asked him on the live chat, what is he hoping for? And he's hoping for 53.5 or higher. And Henrik, I got a feeling.
Sorry, you spoke about the weather, Brent. What's the weather going to be like on Saturday, though? You said it's been raining all week, or it's been raining quite a lot.
I'll have a look quickly. Just give me a sec. But just having a look at just commenting on Henrik thing. Henrik, I'm also expecting the line there. What I was kind of hoping, what I think might happen with this line, particularly if the weather clears up a little bit, is what I think might happen with this line is that it might run out. So it might open 52, 53. And I think if you're on unders punter, sit tight. It might run out to 55, 56. It looks as though there could be some rain about on Saturday. Let me just quickly have a look.
But you guys are flooding. I saw cars floating in Modderfontein at some point last week or the week before.
Yeah, we've had some pretty... And Loftus just doesn't seem to have the same drainage system that it used to. If I
as Newlands.
That way. Loftus used to be a ground that, to me... Yeah. And what will Saturday be? The 29th, eh? Let's have a look here quickly. I'm going to... It looks like it'll be... Let me just have a look at kickoff time quickly. Bulls lines at 2 o'clock, and I'll bring the forecast up now and zoom in a bit. But basically, if I look at 2 o'clock South African time, looks like passing showers. So similar weather to what we've got now. It's actually been very strange weather. It's sunny, and then suddenly half an hour later it's raining, and then it goes up, and then it's sunny again. But it looks as though it could be weather. So yes, Henrik, I think if hold on, Henrik brings up another good point, which I certainly won't argue with. Amy's on the whistle, jokes all day with the players. Yes, Henrik, I agree with you. I find if I'm on the overs and Amy's reffing, I get absolutely frustrated. So I think perhaps unders could be the way to go there.
So then have a bet and don't watch the game. Wait for the results.
Yeah, potentially. But we'll have to make another plan to go watch a rugby game. I remember that one. Well, you complained, I remember they wouldn't allow us to take the beers.
Yes, didn't have a beer yet. It's in the cage at the back. Like, what's that all about? Oh, gosh, I can't go back there.
I don't think that's the case anymore. Let's keep an eye out. I always see, I can't say if it is Loftus, but you always see guys with beers in the stands these days. So let's have a look. I remember that you you weren't impressed that you couldn't get the beers into the stands. Right, let's have a look at the next game. This one there, I think Zebra opened almost a choice game. And there's been a lot of money for Zebra. They've been a very strong home team. They're minus 6.5. I've seen it touch 7.5. And they're playing against a Welsh team, Cardiff here. Gavin, I'm not going to argue with the guys who've taken the early Zebra minus. I think they're worthy favourites, although I can't say I've ever recalled seeing Zebra start minus 6.5.
No, that does seem quite high. But at the same time, these games not involving South African teams, again, what I'm watching and even with Super Rugby, like Blues played the Brumbies. I never really got that involved. Because I don't know that much about it. So, you can bet on whatever you like. Like, seriously, you can bet on whatever you like. I hear people talking about NBA games they're betting on, and I'm thinking to myself, bro, you know nothing about that. Like, why are you getting involved in that? So where I come from in these is exactly what I said earlier. A lot of the time I watch the first 10, 15, 20 minutes, even the first half, and then I get involved. So this minus does seem high for Zebre being at home, but I'll watch a bit and then I'll get involved. Will I bet on these games not involving South African teams? Absolutely. Will I bet before the game? Unlikely. That's actually my stance, and that's how I've always been. I mean, I see Henrik saying they'll win by double figures. I'm going to say you got to listen to this, Ike, because he's definitely not watched more than me, but analyzed more than me in the games not involving South African teams all the time, because I'll take more interest in that, because I know, I hear the names, I don't recognize all of them, but I don't know. It's just you follow what you follow. You know what you know. I don't know. I've always been like that. So yes, I will get involved in these games, but I've got no call right now.
Right, let's move on to the next game. Edinburgh minus 24.5 against Ospreys, and I'll lead in with this with a forum post. It came from Pablo, who I can tell you is on a cruise somewhere around Japan and that at the moment, and I think it's paid for from all his top 14 profits of the last few weeks. He's been in hot form there on the Good for the Game forum, and he came on early in the week. When was this posted? 3 days, 5 hours ago. He said, guys, take the minus 18.5 Edinburgh. Ospreys are missing several key players. He put the line 24 points, and look at that, minus 24.5. So great advice there from Pablo in the forum. I was actually going to take the minus 18.5, but it actually moved fairly quickly after that. But yeah, we got a big handicap here. This is not the sort of game I'm going to probably get too involved in, but plenty of punters have climbed into Edinburgh here, Gav.
Brent, I think the message coming from that comment is that bookmakers are watching your forum, because they moved to exactly what he said they should move to. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, listen, I just saw that comment now. I'm on every plus. I think statistically, and I know I did this stat many years ago, like I'm going 15, 18 years ago. Pluses just arrive more than minuses. So honestly, if you have a plus every week, you don't watch the game, you will make money. You will make money. It's as simple as that. I don't think there's been a season where minuses have beaten pluses. It just doesn't happen. So you might break even, you might lose a little because of the 9 to 10 factor, but ultimately you win money. So yeah, I agree. I always start with the mindset of plus, and you've got to pick your minuses properly, because you've got to find them. They're not hen's teeth, but they're rare. They're not rare, sorry, they're unlikely. Minuses are definitely more unlikely than pluses are. 24 sounds too much, but you know what? You've just said there's half a team. Again, this is a game I'm going to watch a bit, and I'll get involved. And let me say this as well. Don't be scared, right? Let's say this handicap's 24, and they go 12-0 up. So now, and let's say they do that in the first 10 minutes. So is the handicap 36? No, it's not. Sometimes it's 31, and there's the value. So you can take minus 31 with 12 in the bank. You only need to win by 19 at this point. Not 19. Is that right? 36? Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, you know where I'm coming from.
Yes, I know what you're saying.
You're getting the 2 or 3 points value. In other words, instead of taking minus 24 at the start of the game, you're taking minus 21 or minus 18 if it's a few more. So there's nothing wrong with, let's watch a little bit of this game and make a decision some point during the game. When you see what's going on, and I can see what's going on. I say I can, and I believe I can. I don't always get it right, but I can see something in the game. I just see it, and I go, that looks wrong to me, or that price looks too much. I don't know. But I have no idea. Like right now, this number means nothing to me.
Right, let's move on to a game which has got a South African team in it. It's the two teams that have started the fastest in the URC. We've got Munster here.
Table clash.
top of the table clash. They were 8.5 in the early sort of going that I saw, and it's quite stable, this handicap. A little bit of money for them there. Stormers, of course, are missing a number of their players, like Sasha and that are playing for the Box. But Munster, I haven't seen their team, but I imagine they're not going to necessarily be at 100% full strength either. But they're the favourites here, minus 9.5, Gav.
I'm going to say 9. I'm going to say you can take the Stormers to win this game. These are two unbeaten teams. 9 points tells me that it's close to 3-1. I'm just looking up here. I'm actually interested to see the history of these two. And I know that Munster beat the Stormers here in Cape Town in that final.
In the final.
I don't know what it was.
It was the final.
Munster at home. 16. 7. I remember that game, actually. Yeah, I don't know. 9, for me, 9 seems too much. And Henrik's right. Let's go up to 10 or 11. In this game, I'm happy to take the 3-1, and if you're lucky, 33-10 to win the game. And again, have a bet during the game when, I go back to Short Nicholas every time. You and I, we've spoken about it many times. The 10-point rule. Munster go out 10-0. I mean, I've been on the back end of this with Argentina for 2 weeks now. I mean, had I not had a bet before the game, I would have absolutely cleaned up. I mean, we got big Argentina pluses in those 2 games, and they won the one and almost won the other. So, Munster score 7, 10, 10-0, maybe 12, and suddenly you've got plus 15, plus 16. I'm sorry, it's too big. I'm interested. But at 33 or 3-1 or 33-10, top of the table clash, you've got to go for the plus team here. That's a big price. I know they're away, but sorry. I don't know how many of the team has been playing overseas within the Springbok squad, but that just seems too high for me. It feels like it should be like a 3 or 4 point handicap, not a 9-point handicap. I don't know.
Yes, a lot of guys in agreement with you there. Craig joins us actually from Facebook. We don't often get comments from Facebook, so Craig, welcome. So Munster's got a strong team. Henrik got a comment about
straight to YouTube.
Henrik's got a comment, which I'm going to come back to at the end, Henrik. I'm going to bring up the outright betting when we've spoken about the last game, and we can talk about that because I agree with you that Stormers look some good value there. Prashak saying Stormers' defense system has been excellent thus far. And let's move on then to the next game, which also involves the South African side. We've got 2 games left now. This handicap has been very stable all week. Connacht minus 8.5 against the Sharks. We're all scared to talk about the Sharks on the show. Connacht been a bit disappointing at times this season as well. What are we going to do here, Gavin? 8.5?
I'm scared to take the Sharks here. The way they just. Yeah, the coach, the whole system, I don't know. Nothing. It's not working at the Sharks. So, again, this is a watch and see for me. I'm not ready to go into the Sharks plus, but I'm not also ready to take the minus either. Another game I'd like to start and watch a little bit. I'm going to say I'm 60-40 here. I'm 60 with Henrik and 40 against. And the 40 against is saying, let's wait and see. So, I agree with him. In a way, I'm scared to take the minus. So I'm probably going to be, it's plus or no bet. But at this, I'd like to watch a little bit because at some point, and we know this, Brent, we've seen so many teams in the hole, 15 losses, and we can go back to Wales, one win out of 21 or whatever it is. At some point, they turn. And the skill is finding that game or when they win a game is to work out if it's the start of the win run. And that's where the skill is to see were they lucky, did they do okay. But, geez, the Sharks have been absolute rubbish for quite a while now. So as much as I'm scared to take Connacht minus 8, I'm just as scared to take Sharks plus 8. So let's go back to what I just said in the last, talking about the last game. Connacht scores first, and suddenly you got plus 12.5. I'm like, maybe I'm interested in the Sharks. Let's say Sharks score first and Connacht are minus 2 or minus 3. Suddenly I'm interested in Connacht. I don't take the first itch or the first feel. watch a little bit more of the game to see what's happening. And yeah, I just at this I got nothing. I got nothing in this right now. I got nothing. I don't know.
Yeah, just something you said, and it's totally different, but it kind of reminded me of a gambling experience of my past. You're talking about picking the right time to get involved.
Yes.
Now we know that rugby, you can use some skill to potentially pick that. But years ago, I used to love my roulette, and I'll never forget one night. I was about 19 or 20. They used to have these backstreet casinos here. You had to go through a broker and that to keep it legal. And I remember there'd been 6 or 7 spins in a row of black, and I remember thinking black and I think it was 19 to 36 or something like that. And I remember thinking, now's the time to step in, that things will turn. So I started betting on red and 1 to 18. And it turns out they went 14 spins of black and 90 to 36. And I absolutely did my boots that night. But that just got me thinking of that, which is obviously pure chance.
So that's a 50-50. It doesn't matter. The odds of the next spin are always going to be 50-50.
Exactly.
So in that case,
it's always 50-50. Yeah. At the same time, you know that at some stage a red is going to come up, right? But I 100% agree with you. It's different. But rugby is a bit different. At some stage, and maybe it won't happen under Plumtree, but at some stage, the Sharks this season, at some stage, they're going to click and hammer someone. And as you say, the secret is to try and get onto in that game. I agree with you on that one. Lancaster's done great with Connacht. Yeah, I must say I do rate Lancaster as a coach as well. And I think maybe I'm just thinking of one of the early games in the season where they perhaps didn't impress me as much as I thought they would. But let's go on to the last game. It's a pretty big handicap. This it's edged out from plus 13.5 to plus 14.5. Scarlets at home to Glasgow. And I got absolutely no view on this one, Gavin.
I don't either, Brent, but I want to tell you a story, and I think I've told it on the show before. First time I got involved in Connacht, first time I heard their name, I backed the plus. They were 36.5 against South Africa going into that. It was a practice game or I don't know.
Like a tour match thing.
Before 2007 World Cup, South Africa were plus 36. And if Jeremy Marshall's listening to this, which I don't think he is, he was adamant. He took the minus, and I said to him, "Brew, I'm sorry, I'm on the plus." Yeah, I didn't know. I knew nothing about Connacht, and I looked at the stats, and they'd come close to beating New Zealand. And so my first experience with Connacht was backing them, and they nearly won the game. I think it was 3-3 at halftime. 2007 warm-up game, they called it. Sorry, for the 2007 World Cup. Yeah, in this case, I don't know. You got a Scottish team minus 14 against a Welsh team. I don't know. I don't know. Again, I'm going to watch a bit, get involved. I don't know. Right now, these numbers mean nothing to me. You remember that game, Henrik? I loved it. Yeah. I was about to start swearing there. I cleaned up that night. Absolutely. I took money off my boss. It was wonderful. Loved it. I'll never forget that night.
Gav, before we end the show, I'm just going to bring up the. I'm going to put net. Let me actually make it fractional betting.
Oh, let's
talk about the outside.
Sorry, Brent, before you even talk, how can this team be odds on every single year and they've won 1 in 4 since we started? I'm talking about. This is a crazy price. Anyone who's taking seriously 6, 7, or 10, anything under even money, anything odds on, anything under 2-1 Leinster for me is absolutely crazy. I mean, you got 9-2 Bulls, and I got to say that looks a bit short. We've been bigger. Storm is 6-1. Sharks. There's a digit missing. Where's my Lions?
Actually, there's 9-2 Bulls. Yeah, it's almost 5-1. Yeah, 99-20. Let me do the net decimal.
Give me 300 to 1 the Lions. What's this 149? You're trying to rob me. Give me 300 to 1 Lions. I'll have a bet. Yeah, I don't know. I honestly, Brent, you and I, and Henrik for that matter, and everybody watching, we saw outright Super Rugby. We never saw odds on even 5 games in, 10 games in. We never saw that. This is like the bookmakers have been hurt so much with Leinster in the past that they are offering proper value on the other teams. And you just got to find them. But we've seen it. Leinster have won 1 in 4. And are they seriously? They started the season so badly and they 0.65 to win. It's unbelievable. Who gets involved in that? That's long-term punting.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, that's crazy. You're better off putting your money in the bank. Never mind buying gold. You're actually better off putting your money in the bank. You'll beat this.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I mean, I would never be able to take that price. But as you say, what that does do is it does open up opportunities. Like Henrik is saying, he's been building a book on the Stormers. Now, if you look at the Stormers, they've pretty much been away from home the whole time.
Yeah.
So when they got a long home run of games still to come, and I mean they've done excellently on the road. And he's saying Stormers at 6-1, and ultimately what you want to do is get to the last four, and obviously you hope things fall your way. But if the Stormers could have home semi-final and potentially secure top spot on the log, that 6-1 is going to look pretty big. And it's because of that Leinster price. It's because of that Leinster price that we are getting some decent prices. Bulls should also not be shorter than the Stormers, and Munster way too big too. What a Munster here, Henrik, 6.95, just under 7-1.
But I'm going to say this, Brent, and you're going to laugh. A long-term bet for me, I'm not joking, is a golf tournament of 4 days or a cricket match of 5 days. Like, I don't really get involved in this long-term stuff. I mean, the Curry Cup of a couple of weeks, when I say a couple of weeks, I know the English couple means exactly 2, but obviously here it means just, more than 2 or 3. Back Boyland last year earlier in the year at 66-1. I don't mind at these big prices. You're not putting a lot of money down. But who's putting anything down? And to have that price of 0.65 means that somebody with big money is putting it down to keep it there because they've not started the season well. So for me, they should be 2-1 already at worst. They should be 3, 4, 5-1. I don't know. Would I lay them at 5-1? Probably not. 3-1, maybe. I don't know. I just think it's too short about a team that has not delivered from the probability that their price suggests. That's all. This just seems stupid.
Yeah,
it's like Tiger Woods. Remember when Tiger Woods had won the 3 majors and he was 9-10 to win the 4th, and they asked him and he said, "That's a stupid price. How's the Oak 9-10 to beat 150 people?" And he didn't even win that tournament. And I didn't climb into the 9. I never backed Tiger Woods. I've been backing him in the last 10 years, not in the first 20.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm just wondering if it's money coming or if it's just bookmaker fear almost. They just fear Leinster and they'd rather lay anybody else. I don't know. But that brings us to the end of the show. First of all, thanks to all the guys who joined us on the live chat. Certainly, I think, if I'm right in saying, and Henrik will know, is a Champions Cup next weekend? I think we're going to the Champions Cup. So I think, or is it maybe do we get 2 weeks of URC and then the Champions Cup? I'm not sure. I haven't had a look. But we're definitely going to have rugby to talk about over the next few weeks. And Gavin, yourself, I don't think South Africa play a test match again until something like September next year or something. Did I see? Could that be true?
Yeah, we've got crazy, the T20 World Cup coming up, but also we've got the SA20. And I'll tell you, Brent, for 2 years in a row, I've done well in that tournament. I've made money, not massive. I haven't punted big, but I've definitely made money in that SA20. So you know what, Brent, we have this rugby show every week. Why don't we do a 10-minute or even a 5-minute clip each day going through the game of the day at Hoppers 4. Remember, I'm self-employed now, so we can do 2 o'clock in the afternoon if you want. But I'm happy, let's get an idea of the guys watching. Do you want to hear about the cricket? I've done okay. I'd like to say that I'm almost ready to be tipping cricket. Let's put it that way. It's in inverted commas, it's provisional, but I'm happy to have a go. I think I'm reading cricket nicely enough to be able to start telling people what I'm going to do. Whether they listen or they don't listen, that's up to them. But yeah, I'm sure, as South Africans, we cricket and rugby strong. First rugby, yes, because cricket, we've never won anything massive other than the Test Championship. But I think I'm reading this cricket well, and I'm happy to come on every day, starting on the 26th Boxing Day. Unfortunately, we don't have a touring team this year. I know Australia are coming in March and April, I think. I'm looking forward to the SA20. I'm going to go and watch a game or 2 in Paarl and maybe one in Cape Town. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to making some money on it. And let's look at Johan Esterhuizen, who I don't know if you replied to me last week.
He did. He was 4 out of 8 in his treble, so he was making.
Right.
He made it on the other.
Before
you go into Johan's bet, because I just want to. Anybody watching in the live chat, there's a new feature here on the StreamYard that you can have a QR code linking to a website. So I don't even know how to use these QR codes on my phone and stuff. So I'm asking if anyone out there, or even watching the recording, I guess, if you're watching the show, please click on that or use your phone to click on the QR code and let me know if it does take you to the Good for the Game website, because I don't even know. I'm so backward with these things. I've got no idea. So that links you to Good for the Game. If someone could test that, I'd appreciate it. And let's get into your Hans treble there, Gav.
Yeah, listen, I'm on all three of those in my mind. Going to watch a bit to start with. Obviously, the Lions is a bit patriotic for me, so I don't really have a just back answers in Paul. He's right. And Henrik, if you're not doing anything, come with me for a game. I think it'd be good. Happy, enjoying it. Looking forward to December. Wind down, the holidays.
And just what's quite interesting to me, Gavin, I mean, I guess it makes sense. I mean, normally the Boxing Day, we have a test match. I know a few times over the years we haven't in the New Year's. But this year what they've said is let's bring the Betway SA24 January start to December. And I'm guessing that's purely just to take advantage of the holiday season and push the tournament even more.
Yes, but Brent, more importantly, you can't get tickets for these games. They're actually being sold out. I mean, I still remember I had a mate coming down from Joburg last year. I think it was the 28th or 29th of January. So it obviously went a little bit longer last year. And like I say to the guy, you want to go to the game? It was a Tuesday night game. And then eventually he replies to me like the Friday before, we can't get tickets. Can't get tickets. So, yes, they said these games are being sold out. Their marketing's very good. But you know what, Brent? At 54 years old, with my fridge 5 meters away, my TV 2 meters away, I'm happy to sit at home and watch it as well. I hear it, I'm watching, I'm enjoying it. So, yeah, for both of the last 2 seasons or 3 seasons, I've watched a game. I enjoy Paul, and I've gone to the Sunday games at Paul that start at 2 o'clock. Those have been quite nice. I haven't watched a night game yet there. Cape Town, Newlands, sorry. I've watched a couple of games. Love it. Obviously, I've watched cricket all over South Africa. I've watched in Kingsmead. I've watched at Wanderers. I used to work at the Wanderers when I was a very young person. In fact, one of my jobs was looking after I was a security guard. So I was looking after the entrance to the players' family room. And I met...
You worked for Lodge Security. Was it Lodge Security that you said?
Lodge Security.
Yeah,
so one of my favorite nights, and I know my wife's listening, but it doesn't matter, it was many years ago. The old man, Graham
Famous last words, Gavin.
Yeah, so his daughter's like, she's older than me, right? I'm born 1971. She's like a 68 or 67er. So she's a couple of years older than me. And my gosh, I like this girl. And that was my best shift. And I worked there for 3 years. And she was there the one night, and I had to look after her and make sure nobody, bothered her and whatever. It was my best shift there. We used to get paid, I'm not joking, this is like 1987, 1988, 1989, that sort of time, 60 Rand, okay? When beers were 2 Rand, Brent. That's like 30 beers. Plus we got food and drinks on top of it. And I couldn't, and in those days, we used to watch the game. Today, the security guards are watching the crowd. I was watching
they got
the
to
game.
turn their backs.
Yes, and my main job was running on the pitch to grab the wicket before a spectator got it. It was I loved it. Yeah, no,
you and I probably raced against each other without realizing it. Because I was a spectator trying to get to the wickets.
You remember those night games? The B&H night games used to be to watch, and I got 60 Rand to pay. It was crazy. That was like one of my best paid jobs ever. And it was wonderful. Loved it. So, yeah, I've watched cricket my whole life. Love cricket. I've just never been a good cricket punter. That's all. For some reason, I've picked up rugby, and I don't know. That's a story for another day. But I've definitely made money in rugby. Cricket, not so much.
No, 100%. I'm getting back into my cricket, actually. I sort of went away. But I used to be a massive fan of the cricket. Yeah, when South Africa got back and, waking up at 2 a.m. to watch in Australia and that sort of stuff. That was great. But anyway, thanks to the guys in the live chat there. And Gab, thanks to yourself as well, Marco Jansen and Themba Bavume.
Good
to have you on the show, mate.
And Markram. Aidan Markram, sorry. I mean, 9 catches. That's crazy.
Yeah. You were telling me he dropped 2.
Yeah, I heard he dropped 2. I saw him drop 1, but I heard he dropped 2, so he could have got 11. But what was interesting is there's a lot. If you look at the stats, a lot of people on 7 catches. There's only one guy on 8. So yeah, there was a record. I didn't know that, and I was talking to you before the game. I can't remember the stat whether Boucher got more than Gilchrist catches. I know that Boucher was very close. He wasn't as good a batsman as Gilchrist was. I can't remember. But those two, remember, there was a rivalry where both of them were doing so well. And yeah, I mean, we're talking about the results and talking about draw prices as well. Hansie Cronje, for me, was the best captain that went for a result. I know he did dodgy stuff. We're not talking about that. But my gosh, he went out there to try to win. And Themba Bavuma right now, 11 out of 12 wins. That's fantastic. He's doing so well, really. And his batting's improved since he became captain. And I read Ian Botham's book, and he was the complete opposite. He was fantastic until he became captain. He went backwards after that. And when he wasn't captain anymore, he played well again.
Michael Vaughan became captain of England after 1 test in that series. I think it was Graham Smith's first series as captain, that one you spoke about. Yeah. And I had a spread bet. I was high on Michael Vaughan runs at 500 or 400 odd, whatever it was. I was high on him. First test match, I think he got 164 runs in the test match. He then gets named captain for the second test. I don't think he added another 60 runs for the next 4 test matches. I absolutely...
No, it affects a lot of people. It's crazy. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I was talking about... Sorry, carry on.
Carry on.
I got one more thing.
No, I was going to say, wipe me out.
So I saw a stat. I looked up Malcolm Marx after getting Player of the Year, right? Which is great, and well done, Malcolm. And you made me lots of money when you played for the Lions. I saw something that was very interesting, and it reminded me of Han and his hooker bets. So this is very interesting. Malcolm Marx does not score tries against the home nations. What do you call it? The Grand Slam.
The Six Nations teams.
So yeah. So no, not France. Yes, France, but not Italy. But Scotland, England, Wales, and Ireland. He's only scored tries against Wales. He has not scored a try against Ireland. He has not scored a try against Scotland, and he has not scored a try against England. And if you go and look at that, that's something that I didn't think of before, but some players battle to score against some teams. They have good games, but they just don't get across the line. So, and I know that the first try scorer market or any try scorer market is badly priced. I agree with that, and I'm not suggesting you get involved in that. But if you find an edge, and there are edges out there, because I didn't even think about that. I mean, you might get a site that says Malcolm Marx scores a try, Price doesn't score a try. I'm saying look at the don't score a try if he's really battled against that team. And, yeah, it's in the numbers. So, Hein, if you're watching, your hookers don't always win. At Mavericks, they do, but not everyone else.
We must get our couch critic on again soon. Gavin, thanks very much, mate. Good catching up with you. Enjoy the weekend. Good punting, and same to all the boys in the live chat. Someone try and hit that, QR code for me and just let me know what happens. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next week for Champions Cup action, the handicap rugby chat that matters.